Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourself, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Today I will discuss some potential overseas posting examination questions and the corresponding sample answers for bankers. Today marks part 15 of my Path to the Corner of this series for overseas posting examination questions and their corresponding sample answers for bankers. Under the UCP 600 documentary credit rules, which of the following is not one of the permissible methods of handling a negotiation where documents have discrepancies? A. Negotiating under the beneficiary's indemnity. B. Negotiating under the indemnity of the beneficiary's banker. C. Negotiating after obtaining the authority waiver of the LC opening bank. D. Negotiating on a provisional basis and debiting the opening bank's account while awaiting final acceptance of payments. The answer is option D, on a provisional basis and debiting the opening bank's account while awaiting final acceptance of documents. Under Section 25 of the Marine Insurance Act, a marine policy must specify the name of the assured, the subject matter insured, the voyage or period covered, and the sum insured. Additionally, the insurance certificate or policy must be issued in the name of A. A collecting bank in the destination country, B. The drawer or exporter endorsed in blank, C. The negotiating or purchasing bank to perfect the bank's security interest, D. The buyer or importer as the insurable interest passes at the point of shipment under CIF terms. The answer is option B, the drawer, exporter endorsed in blank. Compounding of interest on overdue export bills is applicable. Option A to all export bills, whether paid within or after the transit period. B. Only to overdue export bills. It is not applicable to the bills paid within the transit period for side bills or on the before the notional date for usance bills. C. Only to usance bills with a tenor exceeding 90 days, since short-term bills are exempt from compounding. D. Only when exporter has specifically agreed to a compounding clause in the sanctioned terms. The answer is option B, only to overdue export bills. It is not applicable to bills paid within the transit period for side bills or on or before the notional due date for usance bills. When a clean foreign country check expressed in US dollars is drawn on a bank located in Frankfurt, Germany, the collecting branch should A. Send the check to BOI's New York branch for collection since it is denominated in the US dollars. D. Send the check for collection directly to the correspondent bank in Frankfurt, instructing them to remit proceeds in US dollars. C. Convert the check into rupees immediately at TT bank rate and send a rupee equivalent to the correspondent. D. Send the check to the Federal Reserve Bank's clearing house directly as it is in USD. The answer is option B. Send the check for collection directly to the correspondent bank in Frankfurt, instructing them to remit proceeds in US dollars. Under the instructions of foreign cashing foreign currency travelers checks, what is the maximum amount of foreign currency travelers check that may be ordinarily be encashed from one person to any day on any day, subject to exceptions? A. USD 200, B. USD 1000, C. USD 500, D. USD 2500. The answer is option C, USD 500. Under the FEM regulations, incoming passengers are required to declare foreign currency on a currency declaration form when option A, the total foreign exchange exceeds of USD 3000 or its equivalent in any currency. D, the aggregate value of banknotes and travelers checks exceeds USD 10,000 or their equivalent, and or the value of foreign currency notes alone exceeds USD 5,000 or its equivalent. C. Any amount of foreign currency is brought into India irrespective of the denomination. D. The value of foreign currency notes exceeds USD 3000 while travelers checks up to USD 10,000 are exempt. The answer is option B. The aggregate value of bank notes and travelers' checks exceeds USD 10,000 or their equivalent, and or the value of foreign currency notes alone exceeds USD 5,000 or its equivalent. Under URC 522, Uniform Rules for Collections, documentary collection instructions must A. Be revocable once dispatched to the collecting bank, B. Be subject to URC 522 rules as stated in the covering schedule with the clause this collection is subject to Uniform Rules for Collection, ICC Publication 522. See reference both URC 522 and UCP 600 since the two set of rules are complementary. D. Be authorized by RBI under FEMA before being dispatched to the overseas collecting bank. The answer is option B. Be subject to URC 522 rules as stated in the covering schedule with the clause this collection is subject to Uniform Rules for Collection, ICC Publication 522. For export bills outstanding beyond 9 months from the date of export, the details are captured in which system? Option A, Swift's export bill tracking module. B, FEDAI's online export monitoring platform. C, EDPMS export data processing and monitoring system. D, RBI centralized export registry. The answer is option C, DPMS export data processing and monitoring system. A charter party bill of lading under UCP 600 Article 22 is option A, always unacceptable under any circumstances since charter party arrangements introduce risks the banks cannot assess. B, acceptable under a standard LC without any specific clause permitting it. C, acceptable only if the LC specifically permits a charter party bill of lading. D, treated the same as a regular ocean bill of lading for LC purposes since both evidence carriage by sea. The answer is option C, acceptable only if the LC specifically permits a charter party bill of lading. Under ECGC WTPCG, advances granted for which of the following purposes are covered under the policy? A. Advances granted to government companies. B. Packing credit to sub-suppliers for orders from export houses and trading houses. C. Advances against duty drawback entitlements at the pre-shipment stage. D. Advances for project exports on deferred payment terms. The answer is option B, packing credit to sub-suppliers for orders from houses and trading houses. Under the post-shipment credit infrastructure for advances against undrawn balances, the concessional rate of interest is eligible for a maximum period of A. 180 days from the date of advance, B. 365 days, the same as the Gold Card scheme, C. 90 days only to the extent repaid by actual remittances from abroad within 180 days after expiry of NTP and due date, D. 60 days for demand bills and 120 days for usance bills. The answer is option C, 90 days only to the extent repaid by actual remittances from abroad within 180 days after expiry of NTP or due date. Which of the following correctly describes the position of when a bank negotiates export documents under a letter of credit with discrepancies under an indemnity provided by the beneficiary's banker? A. The indemnity from the beneficiary's banker fully protects the negotiating bank against all possible losses arising from the discrement documents. B. An indemnity is typically intended to cover specific loss from the stated cause. It may not protect against loss arising from other cause that is a natural consequence of accepting discrepant documents. C. Once the beneficiary's banker's indemnity is obtained, the reserve is automatically lifted without further communication with the issuing bank. D. The negotiating bank assumes no risk at all as the indemnity transfers all liability to the beneficiary's banker. The answer is option B. An indemnity is typically intended to cover specific loss from the stated cause. It may not protect against loss arising from some other cause that is a natural consequence of accepting discrepant documents. Under the Gold Card scheme for exporters, the concessional rate of interest on post-shipment advances is applicable for a maximum period of A. 180 days, B. 270 days, C 365 days, D 540 days. The answer is option C 365 days. For collection of USD denominated instruments below USD 2500, the prescribed holding or cooling period for checks drawn on banks in places other than New York City, New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey is A 7 New York business days after credit to the Nostro account, B 11 New York business days after credit to the Nostro account, C 15 New York days business days after credit to the Nostro account, D 21 calendar days after the instrument is physically delivered to the correspondent bank. The answer is option B 11 New York business days after credit to the Nostro account. Under UCP 600, the standard for examination of documents in term of data consistency, Article 14D provides that A. All data in all documents must be identical to each other and credit the every detail, the mirror image rule. B. Data in a document need not be identical to but must not conflict with data and other stipulated documents when read in context with a credit and international standard banking practice. C. Minor inconsistencies between documents may be waived if the goods shipped correspond exactly to what was ordered. D. Data conflicts between the bill of lading and the invoice are automatically waived if the shipping marks match. The answer is option B. Data in a document need not be identical to but must not conflict with data in other stipulated documents when read in context with a and credit and international standard banking practice. Under the instructions for advances against retention money in respect of turnkey and construction contracts, advances against retention money relating to which portion of the contract are not permissible. Option A, the supplies portion where retention money arises from physical goods delivered. B, the services portion of the contract. C, the portion payable within 1 year of shipment. B, subcontract retention money where the prime contractor holds back portion from the subcontractor. The answer is option B, the services portion of the contract. For advances against retention money payable within 1 year from the date of shipment, the concessional rate of interest applies for a maximum of option A 30 days, B 90 days, C 180 days, D 365 days. The answer is option B 90 days. Under the procedure for collection of export bills on consignment basis, which specific precaution must the bank take in forwarding instructions to the collecting bank? Option A, the collecting bank must be instructed to ensure the goods for at least 110% of the invoice value from the date of arrival at the port of destination. B. The collecting bank must be instructed to deliver documents only against a trust receipt or undertaking to deliver sales proceeds by a specified date within the prescribed realization period. C. The collecting bank must be instructed to protest the goods for non-delivery if the consignee does not collect within 30 days of the vessel's arrival. D. The collecting bank must hold the documents until a confirmed remittance for the full invoice is received from the consignee. The answer is option B. The collecting bank must be instructed to deliver documents only against a trust receipt or undertaking to deliver sales proceeds by a specified date within the prescribed realization period. Under Article 14 of UCP 600, the addresses in documents need not exactly match those in the credit except in one specific situation. The exception is option A. The beneficiary's express appearing on the commercial invoice must exactly match the credit. B. The consignee or notified party details on a transport document must match the credit if those parties' addresses appear therein. C. The insured address on the insurance policy must exactly match the LC stipulations. D. The drawer's address on the bill of exchange must exactly match the issuing bank's records. The answer is option B. The consignee or notified party details on a transport document must match the credit if those parties' addresses appear therein. The covering schedule of instructions for bills sent for purchase or negotiation must contain the exporter's consent to crystallization, which specific clause must be incorporated in the schedule per the bank's requirements. A. Exporters consents to the bank adjusting the bill at the RBI reference rate with if the bill remains unpaid beyond the due date. B. Exporter agrees that side bills unpaid for 30 days after transit period and nuisance bills unpaid for 30 days after due date shall be converted at TT selling rate on the 30th day or next working day if that is a holiday or Saturday, and agrees to repay the rupee equivalent with interest. C. Exporter irrevocably authorizes the bank to sell the goods at the best available price if the drawee defaults on payment after two formal notices. The exporter agrees to maintain a minimum margin of 10% of the bill value in a designated account until the bill is realized. The answer is option B. Exporter agrees that side bills unpaid for 30 days after transit period and nuisance bills unpaid for 30 days after due date shall be converted at TT selling rate on the 30th day or next working day if that is a holiday or Saturday, and agrees to repay the rupee equivalent with interest. ECGC Limited functions under the administrative control of which Ministry of the Government of India? Option A, Ministry of Finance, B, Ministry of External Affairs, C, Ministry of Commerce, D, Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The answer is option C, Ministry of Commerce. Under UCP 600 Article 28, if the letter of credit is silent regarding the insured party and the insurance document evidences that claims are payable to the order of the shipper or beneficiary, the document, option A, is automatically acceptable as the shipper or beneficiary has the insurable interest. B is not acceptable unless it is endorsed so that the right to receive payment passes upon to or prior to the release of documents. C is acceptable only if the shipper is the same entity as the beneficiary named in the LC. D requires a counter signature from the issuing bank before it can be accepted. The answer is option B is not acceptable unless it is endorsed so that the right to receive payment passes upon or prior to the release of documents. In the context of the bank's exposure to a letter of credit confirmation basis, which category of branches is prohibited from undertaking LC confirmation business and must route such requests through A and B category branches? A. Only rural and semi-urban branches. B. All branches other than A and B category branches. C. Branches that do not have treasury operations. D. Branches in countries with restricted ECGC cover. The answer is option B. All branches other than A and B category branches. Thank you very much for your patience. Please like and share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.